Okay, in this part we want to talk about the Pleistocene era, which was the last ice age on Earth, and it covered a big part of Canada and the northern part of the United States. So it began about 2.5 million years ago, and during this time period, about a third of Earth's land surface was underneath ice sheets and glaciers, and it was one of the most prolonged cold periods in all of Earth's history. Now, ice ages or what we call glacial ages, are cold periods that can last upwards to several million years. And the glacial periods of cold climates are interrupted by these brief interglacial warm periods. And we know this because we have taken deep sea cores of the sediment of the ocean bottom, and that helps us know the ocean temperature. So this was the extent of the glaciers back in the Pleistocene epoch. So notice it covers all of Greenland, all of Canada, and even down into North America. Almost all of northern Russia there, Scandinavia, and down into Europe. Looking at it looking down onto the North Pole. So here's Greenland here, and you can see it goes down, covers pretty much all of Canada, and into the northern parts of North America, the United States, into Europe, and not all the way down to Moscow, but most of northern Russia there. So this was sea ice here, and this was what we call the continental ice that was on the continents. So 18,000 years ago, this was about the furthest extent. So notice pretty much all of Canada, Great Lakes, down into all of Michigan, Minnesota, the northern parts of the continental US there. Then about 9,000 years ago, or 9,500 years ago, notice that the glaciers had retreated and all the way back into uncovering the United States and most of Canada. So what they will do is they'll leave during the wet periods. They will leave what we call paleo lakes, and at this point in history, between 12,000 to 30,000 years ago, the American West was filled with these lakes. If you've heard of Lake Bonneville, that evaporates, and it was one of the largest lakes in North America. It evaporated and left what we now know as the Bonneville Salt Flats, where they hold every year. They have these speed trials where people bring their cars and try to set speed records and so forth. So here's the example. So here's California, here's Nevada, here's Utah. So all of this was at one point in time. You can see these pluvial lakes, these great lakes. These were the drainage areas. And over time they've evaporated, and all that's left now are these areas in blue. Lake Tahoe, for example, Pyramid Lake here in California. And you can see the shoreline and the salt flats there. Mono Lake, right there. Again, all part of these leftovers from the Pleistocene era. So again, just another shot of the paleo lakes. So this was Lake Bonneville, and as it evaporated, it left these salt flats, it's like a desert of salt. And there's Mono Lake over there. Now, you know what, we'll do this in the next part, okay? We'll come back and do the shrinking glaciers and climate change on the next part.